evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Beneath Your Skin. This is Gaia, yes, still dealing with the madness going on around the world. I have to tell you, people, I'm getting closer and closer to snap. We are only safe because we are in lockdown, so I can't go around killing people randomly. So that's the only reason why the world is a little bit safer than usual. But yes, I'm still here, and thank God, I have my friend Zoe here with me, and thank God we are going through this together because she is keeping me sane. Hello, my
Hey.
dear. How are you doing?
Good. Again, I think the most sane I am is when I'm talking to you and we're doing these reviews. The rest of the time, I'm going a little bit balmy. I've started doing the gardening, and if anyone knows me, I don't do gardening. I'm not into gardening. I don't like tidying up. I don't like dirt. I don't like bugs. I don't like touching things with my hands because I'm tactile defensive. Yet, I was out there de-weeding the garden and moving stones with creepy crawlies underneath them and getting soil on me because I needed to do something else with my life that wasn't sitting in one spot hoping that we're allowed out of the house.
Well, I started to clean my basement, so we are in the same boat, sadly. And I found out I have my fair collection of creepy dolls down there. And I'm pretty sure one of them was creepily looking at me while I started to clean. So if you don't hear about me or from me in the near future, send help because one of those dolls probably tried to kill me or it succeeded and I am now a corpse. So, yes, let's, this time we decided, Zoe decided because she is a saint and she knew we needed something to finally get a closure with the whole exorcist saga and thing. So she picked up a very nice and amazing movie that is a comedy, but it makes more sense than movie 2 to 5 of the Exorcist saga. And it's called Repossessed. And it casted Linda Blair. And it's so fun. Okay, yes, we know we are an horror movie podcast, but this one was worth it. This one made more sense than many movies we just watched, and it was so fun. I started to laugh like a crazy girl, and I'm still laughing because really that was amazing. Let's start with a little bit of truth. I would have killed those two kids. I don't like kids in movies, and Linda Blair's kids in this movie, they are the stuff from a nightmare. I mean, if I was a mother and those were my children, I would beg a demon to possess me because really they were so they
Bratty?
really
Uber
yes
brats,
they
yeah.
were dirty, yeah, they awoke in me the need to kill. So yes, I'm glad I'm not a mother right now, but yes, I would have killed those two kids. But yeah, thank you, Zoe, for picking up this movie. It was worth it.
Yes, I decided that after going through 5 films for the Exorcist saga and pretty much all of them bar the original Exorcist movie, which is a triumph, was more and more like damaging to my health. And to end on that fifth one, on that Dominion, which was just the most boring, most stupid, the most unrelated to The Exorcist ever, I was like, oh my god, I'm dying. And then I remembered Repossessed, and I thought, oh, if Gaia hasn't seen this, I'm going to have to go, look, watch this movie. I'm not going to you can't look anything up about it. You've just got to go into it, not realising that it's a comedy. I remember watching it when it first came out, and I loved it because it came out in 1990, and which is the same year that The Exorcist 3 came out. So they came out in the same year. And which is really weird because obviously Linda Blair didn't appear in The Exorcist 3, but instead she kind of reprised because she's Nancy in this, but she does this film set? Obviously, it's a Leslie Nielsen film, and if you know much about Leslie Nielsen, you know that he was very much a staple of the comedy genre in American cinema. And they were all these like mock take films, Mickey take films, all the hot shot films, and the Naked Gun is his big famous like trilogy, the Naked Gun movies. So it's all and what they do is it's satire of everything. And for a filmmaker in the 90s, a lot of it still feels very poignant today. I couldn't believe how many jokes about like the government there were in it. Like so many jokes about the government and lack of healthcare, and like I think it was the Bush administration, so there was a lot of like jokes about that. And I was like, wow, some things apparently never change. I admit some of the jokes and some of it is a little bit dated. It's a little bit more sexist than like movies would be now, and a little bit more like, you know, some of the tone is a bit like, yeah, really, yeah, not quite kosher. But at the same time, it just takes the mick out of everything, and it's so good at taking the mick out of aspects of the Exorcist films. One of the things I love is remember when we were reviewing was it it is Exorcist, yeah, it's Exorcist 3, and for some unknown reason, the grandmother seemed to really hate Jews in it. So they kept having jokes when people would mention a Jew, and someone would go, "Oh, bless you," and it was just like so that it was mocking pretty much a film that came out the same year with pretty much the same title. It was mocking all the old ones and messing. I love the bit when she's been thrown all over the bed and she's like, stop it, stop it. And the guy comes in and goes and turns the controller down for the vibration setting. And she's like, I hate that controller. And it's like, oh, a little bit like that. And also, the plot actually is like, if you think about it, it's a far more realistic plot than like Exorcist 2 or Dominion or any of them. The idea that the devil comes back to repossess her and then uses its influence over television and like this like evangelists and that new like preaching on TV spectacle that I just think is ridiculous, and uses that to gain an audience so it can use television to affect as many souls as possible and just eat a load of souls and corrupt everybody. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what pure evil would do. Pure evil would trick a power-hungry, money-grabbing couple that are like, yay, worship for money, get a giant audience, and then at the end, very progressive, invited all of the evils, so not just the devil. It's like, all evil unite, let's eat the human race. And I'm like, actually, yeah, that's a solid plan, devil, solid plan.
And I liked how, in this very funny way, there was a huge critic to the Catholic Church. I mean, when Father Brophy is waiting to go in front of the exorcism council, and there are the Bibles on display, and you have to pay to get one Bible, and that's obviously a critic about how money hungry the church became. But the church was always money hungry. I mean, Martin Luther decided to separate himself from the Catholic Church because once he was in Rome, he was there to pray for his father's soul, and he realized that wealthy people would get an absolution for all their sins just because they paid a huge amount of money to the church. So he was like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't sign for this. And he began to criticize the Catholic Church. So I think that was a very funny way to point out that things didn't change much during history. And I absolutely loved the scene at the gym. Come on, that was so fun. Father May I dressed up in a pink leotard doing exercise because really he had to be ready to fight the devil. That was so fun. That was absolutely fun. And while being a comedy and this struggle being presented to us in a comedy way, he was still scared to go back to fight the devil. Even because, yes, at the end of the first exorcism, he falls down from those stairs and, oh, shit. And then and that's exactly how the second exorcism ends, with all of them say, oh, shit.
I
So
love that line. I love the way they look at the camera going, oh shit. I also love that he falls down the stairs, obviously in a reference to like priest falling down the stairs. And he keeps going, and it's just like, oh.
in any other kind of movie, Father May I will be dead in a very painful way. But of course, this being a comedy, it was like just, oh shit. And let's say something. Let's just um, spend a moment of silence for all the pea soup that was wasted and used in this movie. But even if it's a little bit disgusting, come on. You wanted to see the nerdy guy
Oh,
bothering
God, yes.
Father May I during all his lesson, covered in pea soup vomit. You wanted that to happen, and when it happened, and they are, and both him and Linda Blair are like cleaning the corner of their mouth from pea soup. That was amazing. That was so fun, and yeah, that was the right ending for the movie. I loved it.
Yeah,
Perhaps
it's.
I'm a little bit mean to the nerdy guy, but come on, he
Yeah,
was
no, he
very
deserved
annoying.
it. He kept being like, oh, he just kept being a pain. And it's like, oh, please, just shut him up. Stop ruining the story. But it's funny. I love the musical numbers. I absolutely adore the like the repossessed, and I love the devil in a blue dress. It was just like it's fun. It's silly, old school, like that kind of like mocking satire of other films, and it had like the Star Wars jokes in there, and it had like little jokes from other movies and things, and the little cameos from people that at the time would have been like pretty famous, and that was all just really entertaining. And I thought Linda Blair was great. You could tell she was having so much fun just being this stupid, like really petty, possessed woman. And the devil was just acting like a child with lots of na-na-na-na-nas, basically. And I love the lick me. And then she's dressed as a giant ice cream cone going, come on, you want a bit of my cold pop. And it's just like, it's such stupid lowbrow humour sometimes, but it's funny. And it's what we needed after watching all these Exorcist films that took themselves way too seriously and had astro projecting minds and weird body snatching serial killers and Lucifer floating around on a church and like nonsense happening. And this one was literally the devil comes back and tries to use television to eat everybody's souls. And it wants Linda Blair's body because you know, that was the one that got away and therefore tried to and then it wants a showdown with Father May I because that's the one person that's ever stopped it. And then yeah, it's like no, it's a really logical plot. Okay, yeah, the rest of the shenanigans going on, you're just like, what is going on? And there's like a car chase scene on a buggy through the whole thing, and they're just like smashing through the scenery. But I thought Linda Blair was great. She was just so full of wild energy and like stupid abandonment and really got to play like the possessed, and the makeup was good. It looked like the old one but without like stepping too much on the old Exorcist shows, but her way of moving her face and all the expressions, you could tell that she was totally happy taking the mickey out of her old role.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have some favorite lines in this movie when Father May I starts to offend the devil, and the devil is like, "Hey, who gave you the right to talk to me like that?" And he takes out the script of the movie. That was fun. That was very fun, and I loved Jace Ventura's cameo. I remember when I was a child, I loved to watch wrestling, and I liked Jace Ventura very much. So it was nice to see him on screen. It made more sense than the movie we watched. And you know what? It was fun. It was very fun. It was good to see Linda Blair again after the last we left her
Yes.
wearing lipsticks and white dresses and tip tap dancing for no reason at all. It was good to see her again doing honor to her old role. Even in this parody, she was so very good, and she was honoring Regan McNeil.
Definitely. It was a good homage. It's a silly film. Yes, some of the jokes might be a bit more problematic now, haven't dated well. There's a little air of sexism and racism in there. But sometimes you can't help sometimes that films of a certain decade have aspects of the humour and the sensibilities of that decade. It's just a known fact. If you just look past that, just how silly it is, how well it knows the source material, how much fun people are having making this movie, and all just the little tiny side jokes that make it just like the most like random stuff. I mean, I love that kind of most random stuff. Like they park, and then all the car parking spaces next to them are the disabled parking bays, and they have literally like the disabled logos are parked in the bays, and you're like, that is so random. Why? Why is that in this movie? But it just gives it that level of goofiness, and you know what? It's nice to have a bit of fun and a bit of laugh at the genre.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And I'm very glad you picked up this movie, Zoe. It was a very good choice. And I really enjoyed watching it. I was watching it with Cuties on the Horizon, the one girl helping me when I am getting pissed off or drove crazy by editing the audio. So it was very fun. She is a great movie buddy, and we had a lot of fun watching it together. I again, once again, want to thank her for her help and her love for our podcast. And yes, and thank you, Zoe, because really this was very, very fun and we needed it.
Most definitely.
If Zoe doesn't have anything else to add,
Nope.
thank you so much for listening, and we hope you didn't run away when you realized this episode was about a comedy. And if you want to join us, we have a website on Pinecast, Beneath Your Skin, and we have a Twitter account at beneath underscore your, and we have a Facebook page. You can look for us on Under Beneath Your Skin, and listen us on Spotify, Beneath Your Skin. So thank you again. We hope to hear from you. And if you have questions or you just want to say hi, I just told you how to do that. So thank you so much and bye bye.
As always, it's a pleasure recording these podcasts for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're staying well and safe and relatively sane in these crazy times. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, byes.